Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Silverfox Hustle podcast. This is episode 64. If you don't already know, follow us on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcast as well. We have a very special episode today, and every episode is special, obviously, on the Silverfox Hustle podcast. But today is extra special. I'll tell you why. And before we start off and stuff like that, in today's episode, we're going to touch on a few things that's going to be impactful. As well as sensitive as well to some people, but it is really needed. All right, so here goes. My guest today is an ex-offender who has been in and out of prison 5 times for various offences, mostly drugs related, and also received 21 strokes of the cane throughout that five times. He mentioned that his first experiment with taking weed led him to face the consequences of the next 30 years of his life. Just get that, right? It's really, it hits you there. Now an anti-drugs advocate and motivational speaker, he was the brand ambassador of social enterprise Cafe The Living Well, but right now he is with a media production company doing his fair share of interviewing people and talking to people on the streets. Welcome to the Silverfox Hustle podcast, Mr. Bruce Mathieu.
Thank you, Sashi, for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Bruce, I have to say this before we start, right? Some of the things that I'm going to ask you is born out of ignorance as well, because I don't know certain things, and it's going to be, like I said at the beginning, it's going to be impactful. So to listeners and to people who are watching at home, here goes, right? Before we start, let's warm up a little bit. I see you've got tattoos on your hands and stuff like that.
My hands.
Which is your favorite, by the way?
My favorite.
Yes.
My favorite would be one that this one.
What is that?
Okay. This is a compass, and then this has my daughter's name here.
Nice.
Okay. So what it represents is to keep my inner compass facing true north.
Right.
So this was what I got
Okay.
after my release the last time.
Oh, the last one.
Yeah.
So this is the newest, the latest one.
Not the latest lah, but
You got more.
oops, Mom, I'm sorry, Mom. I didn't tell you.
Okay. That's nice. So how many have you got in total? Do you know? Do you count?
The first tattoo I got was when I was 13.
13, okay.
13. Back then, there was no restriction. Oh, you have to be 18 or 21 to get a tattoo. Back then, if you have the money, go to Peninsula, you just queue up, no one, pop, you go in, choose one that you like. And
Is there one now? Like a age limit now at the moment?
I think there is like 18 or 21, right?
Oh, I don't know that, man. Yeah.
I don't know either. Like.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Now, Bruce, let's get started, right? Because I think I was looking through some of your stuff on the internet and stuff. We've got like 1.5 hours or 2 hours, but if we really talk about stuff, right? It's going to go for 5 hours, 6 hours, 7
Oh, no,
hours.
it's going to be 3 days and 3 nights at least.
There you go, right? So let's get started, right? To know Bruce, we got to go way back to your childhood days. What was it like growing up?
Okay, I come from a single parent family. My dad left my mom when I was very young. I dare say intermittently he would come back for a short while and then he would leave. I actually grew up in the east of Singapore, Katong,
Right.
where Lyndhurst Road is.
Yeah.
I used to live in a 8,000 square feet house, from my mom's side.
That's huge, isn't it?
It's big. Front and back garden and everything. I should say financially, my family were well-to-do,
Yeah.
but not us.
Okay.
Because my mom was a very strong woman. She didn't believe in getting handouts, even from her own dad. I remember my mom telling me that my grandfather wanted to help, and my mom just turned it down.
Okay.
She believed that if I can give birth to my son, which was what she told me, I can also raise him up by myself.
Only son?
Only son.
Right.
So that being said, I grew up very lonely, of course, no siblings. I do have cousins because my mom had like 10 other siblings, a football team.
Right.
I had many cousins, some of them who are very close to me.
Okay.
But they didn't live together in the same house. So I guess my childhood memory would be of me always playing alone,
All right.
cycling around my neighborhood,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And your dad is French? What?
Yeah, French Singaporean.
French Singaporean, and your mom is Chinese.
Chinese,
right? So
purebred.
you're
So
Asian.
just to get this off the bat, yeah, I am Eurasian, half French, half Chinese, but don't let this Caucasianish looks fool you. I speak very good Mandarin, Hokkien, Cantonese,
Right.
Malay, and a bit of Tamil. Cursing, superb.
Nice, beautiful. So you talk about your dad. He was absent.
Yeah, an absentee father
Right.
for almost all of my life.
Then what about the place that you were staying in? Because you lived with like a couple of uncles, aunties and stuff like that. So it
Yes.
was huge. It was
It
a
was
huge,
a huge house, huge
house, and the family as well was huge, wasn't it?
Yep, it was. But it may be huge. That doesn't mean that my life was a bed of roses. I guess due to the fact that my father wasn't around,
Okay.
and I had a few uncles who were alcoholics. They loved to drink. So that being said, no one to protect me. And when they come back drunk, I always get it. Either when they quarrel with their wife or they come back drunk in a bad mood, I always get scolding or beaten up. I got beaten up very, very often in my life.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know how Chinese families are or were.
Okay.
When I was growing up, if your son gets beaten up, all right, unlike today where the parents will come and defend the child. Last time, you get beaten up, my mom would take it that I was at fault. And then I would kena lagi.
I understand.
Right.
It's the old school kind of thinking.
Yes,
Yeah.
old school. So that being said, I grew up to believe that violence could settle everything in life.
Right.
That was why when I was in my teens, I was a very violent teen. I loved to get involved with fights. I was a very frequent visitor of Joo Police Station when I was still around.
Okay.
Just imagine this, there are 7 days to a week. The most I ever fought in a week was 9 times. 9 times, I kid you not.
9 times in seven
7 days, yeah.
We'll talk about the fights and the gangs,
Sure.
right? But this is very interesting. It's an interesting fact because we talk about people or kids growing up in so-called broken homes, in poor living conditions and stuff like that, right? And then they later on, go on and have a hard life themselves, right? Yours is slightly different, isn't it? It is different. So do you think that is the case with you, or is it just an excuse for most people? Like, okay, I grew up in terrible conditions, and then I will become what I am supposed to be. That kind of thing.
I guess for me, it was the company I mixed around with.
Okay.
Right. So like I said, I was an only child. I grew up very lonely. So, okay, let me backtrack a bit.
Okay.
So like I was saying, I always got beaten up by my uncles. So I still remembered at the age of just like 2 weeks before my 12-year-old birthday, I actually told my mom this. I said, Mom, I'm growing up. I'm a big boy already. If anyone were to hit me, I might retaliate. And true enough, I think it was like 2 weeks after my 12-year-old birthday, one fine day my uncle called me up.
Okay.
Right? And he accused me of doing something which I didn't do at all. And he said, why do you do this? Blah, 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 blah. I said, no, I didn't do it. When I said no, he slapped me very hard across the face and forced me to admit. I kept on saying no, no, no. Each time I say no, each time he slapped me. Okay, until I blacked out. When I say I blacked out, I don't mean I fainted.
Okay.
I went into a rage. I ran to the kitchen. He followed suit. I took up a chopper. Okay, when I held the chopper in my hand, he was jammed. No, he was shocked.
Yep.
Because this is the first time I'm retaliating.
Right.
He was shocked. He stood down there, not moving. My mom was at home. She ran towards me. She held my hand and she said, "Boy, to pang tiao, let go of the chopper, let go of the chopper."
Right.
When I dropped the chopper, he dashed forward and he swung a punch at me. Okay. So like I was saying, a lot of my uncles were drunk, so there were beer bottles everywhere. So next thing I took up was a beer bottle. Same thing, I held a beer bottle. He held back. He didn't move. My mom held on to my hand, said, "Boy, let go, let go." When I let go, he came, swung the next punch at me. So 2 punches, one landed on my chest, one landed on my face. And I still remember I got internal injuries from
And you're
that.
12-year-old.
Yep. The punchline is coming up. Then a tussle ensued. Okay, it was quite a violent tussle. So that day was the day we left the house. My mom said, "Boy, come, pack our stuff. We go." and we never looked back.
So your mom was there at that time?
Yes.
Yeah.
So from henceforth, we kept on moving from place to place, rented house after rented house.
Right.
My uncle, I forgot to say one thing. He was a black belt in karate.
This guy who punched you?
Yeah.
And you were 12-year-old?
Yep.
And he was much bigger than you were?
Yep.
And he was drunk?
He wasn't drunk.
He wasn't drunk?
This guy wasn't the drunk one, this guy was the sober one. But I guess he wasn't sober in his mind.
Those are the kind of things that would trigger anyone, and we talk about, whether you grew up in a well-to-do family or whatever. I think you talk about company even, right? It's even the company that you are staying in as well.
Yeah,
I
agree.
That is crazy, man. You talk about the people that you mixed with.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us, because I am teaching at College East, and people mixing with the youth of today, and could be youth at risk as well, right? What is the consequence of actually mixing with the wrong company? Because when I was in school before, I was in Teck Whye Primary and Teck Whye Secondary School, right? And loads of gangsters and what have you, right? And I had friends as well, but those are the friends. But I don't know. I think that you've got to make a decision on your own as well. You can be friends with them, right? But you have to make a decision on your own as well. But to you, how did that really, start you on I don't know, whatever you want to call it, the bad path or whatever, right? The peers that you were with, the friends that you were with.
I guess we first have to determine definition of friend.
Right.
Right. In Singapore, I think the lines are always blurred. The proper word I would use is acquaintances.
Okay.
And not friends.
Right.
Friends are people you can depend on. Right? Not acquaintances. Acquaintances are just people that you know. For your boys at ITE, I strongly suggest that you choose your company wisely. All right. It is not wrong to venture out and to try things out. But one thing, actions and consequence. There are always consequence to your actions, whether we like it or not. It is like that. That is the way the world works.
True.
All right. You might say that, yeah, they're just people that I know I hang out with But you think about this. I give you an example.
Right.
Let's say I don't like chicken rice.
Okay.
All right. You love chicken rice. A group of my friends love chicken rice. Every day I go out with them. Every day they're eating chicken rice, and they say, "Come, Bruce, try." I resist one time. I resist two times. But are you telling me that along the way, down the line, I'm not going to be influenced by them to like chicken rice or to try chicken rice? Am I correct?
Try.
So, exactly. Trying.
Yep.
So when you try something, doesn't mean it's good for you, yeah? So it can be crimes, it can be drugs, especially drugs. Because I guess a lot of people forget about the cat. You know the cat, right?
What cat?
Curiosity and how the cat died.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Many times we say, hey, I'm just curious, I want to try, I just want to try that one time and then I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
But the problem is, what if that one time, okay, you're like me, that one time you try drugs for the very first time and then BAM! You fall in love with that high.
Right.
You are going to pay the consequence for the rest of your life.
We'll get to drugs in a bit, right? The schools that you attended, what schools, are they still around or?
Hick Boys School. Primary school I was in Hick Boys.
Okay.
Yeah, Hick Boys. It was at Hick Road originally, but now, I don't know. I heard it last moved to Mountbatten, and then there's an integration thingy with, I don't know.
Okay. Academically, how were you?
Honestly speaking, I was a rather bright boy. Yeah, I was. Duh, Eurasian the day. I was bright. I was very bright. Even in primary school, I love joining the debate team. Used to have quizzes and all that. I love taking up quizzes. Every year, storytelling competition in both English and Chinese.
Right.
But of course, I failed my Chinese.
Okay.
I can speak, but writing and reading eludes me.
Okay.
So because of that, I don't know why I was posted to a Chinese school.
Really?
Secondary, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was
Yok
it
Eng High School. Woohoo! I call it a communist school.
Yok Eng?
Yes.
Where's this?
It was next to Hollywood Theatre.
Ah, Okay.
but now it's the Chinese Chambers of Commerce. They have moved to Hougang.
Mm.
Back then, it was a school not meant for studying. It's a school to learn to fight.
Really?
Seriously. Every day, a canteen, recess time canteen behind. I think you have to choke, have to book the slots.
For the fight
Yeah,
or
for the fight.
not to watch lah.
No, for the fight. I book slot. Hey, after my turn, you want to fight? Wait, I go first.
Was that bad?
It was that bad every day. All right. So it was there that I guess what I picked up from my youth actually came out.
Okay, let me ask you this, right? Let's say, it's not rocket science, right? You can study. You speak brilliantly. Let's say you're in a different school, right? I wouldn't say a proper school lah. I mean, not like a so-called gangster
Proper
school.
school, okay.
Not saying like a gangster school lah.
I understand.
Right.
What you mean.
Would it be different? Would it turn out differently for you? I mean, this is all hindsight and whatever, right?
Obviously, it would.
It would.
Obviously, it would, because your company determines. Should I use the word determine, or determine is too strong? The people that you mix around with, all right, has an influence upon your life. Whether we like it or not, like I said, this is the way it is. You might say that, oh no, I'm a very strong-willed person. I will not be influenced. So my question would be, if you're strong-willed, then why are you mixing around with people like this?
Okay.
Right?
Right.
You must be liking some things that they do, so much so that you choose to spend your time with them. Right? Yeah. So if you choose to run around with bad boys, I won't be surprised. I mean, the chances of you growing up to be a bad boy will be like more than 90% or 85% and above.
Right.
But if you choose your company wisely and properly, okay, you mix around with more general population.
General population.
So to speak.
Okay.
The chances of you growing up to be that will be there.
See, we've just gone into the 20th minute of the episode, and one of the main things here, right? Choose the people you mix with wisely. I think that is one of the most important things ever. And you said it yourself, right? If you had just taken that different turn in terms of the school, more or less, right, things would have been different. But that's for a different day, right? Can you just pinpoint that moment where, because all this happened without you doing things illegally or whatever, you know what I mean, like being caught, right? So what is that thing that you just giving me
being
the eye?
caught. That's
the word, right? What is the you think that the start of that slippery slope, like you think that this is it? Is there a moment, or is just a accumulation of things?
Okay, so when I entered secondary school,
Right.
Like I've said, to me it was the wrong school.
Okay.
Everything went downhill. First, it was just like a roller coaster. It starts off very slowly, okay, and then all of a sudden, zoom, it goes down. So my life in secondary school was like that.
Right.
I'm quite a bright student. I was a bright student. I need not study, but yet I passed all the time. What I did in class was I made more noise than I studied. If I were to sleep in class, my teacher would say hallelujah, thank God for that, because I won't be disrupting the whole class. My problem actually started when I got recruited into a gang. Initially, there were few people that came to try to recruit me into their gangs, and I resisted.
Why did you resist the first few times?
I guess inside of me, I knew it was wrong.
Right.
Right. My belief is everyone is born with an innate sense of goodness in them.
Okay. Nice.
It's the bad habits that they picked up along the way, the company that they mix around with, that their character starts shifting. So in me, I knew that joining a gang was wrong. But being a human being, being an only child, I look for companionship, for camaraderie. So peer pressure, or whatever you want to call it, whatever it is.
Right.
when the third or fourth dude came up to me, hey, would you want to join? I accepted the offer.
Okay.
All right. And I tell you, Shasi, the worst decision of my entire life. The worst. Okay. Some would say, you know what, Bruce, drugs is your worst. Yes, but it was from gangs that I got involved with drugs.
Right.
Okay. So when I joined a gang, wow, it really opened up my eyes because of I got people behind me already.
Okay.
I had backup. So I started doing things that I didn't dare to do.
Right.
Okay? False bravado or whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter. I started doing things, I started taking risks.
Okay, give me some of these examples, like
Gang fights,
Okay.
fights,
Right.
thefts, okay, making a nuisance out of myself.
Just for the sake of doing it.
Just for the sake of doing. You see, kids nowadays is not very different from kids back then. You know.
Okay.
All right. Everyone while growing up, they want to have fun. They're looking for fun, right? I understand that, but there's always a fine line. Know the kind of fun you want. There's always the good kind of fun and bad kind of fun, right? There's fun that will edify. There's fun that will make you happy, and there's fun that will make you happy but cause misery for other people. And it is that kind of fun that you don't want to get into, because fun for you is not fun for that. That is no fun at all. That is no fun at all.
Right. So when you got into a gang, right? Like is there like a initiation or like a formal official or whatever you call it?
Of course there is. All right. Back then in the early 80s, there is still, I guess, rites and vows that you have to make.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. I shall not go into details for that.
Of course.
There are certain rites, initiation rites and vows that you have to make.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you were talking about fights and all, right? So in a typical day, right? I mean, and all of these, you were in school, right? You were in school, in secondary school, right? So do you go to school? Or you just sometimes just
No, sometimes, a lot of times I pontang.
So most of these members were in school, in that same particular school, or they're from
No,
everywhere?
they're from outside.
Ah,
They're from outside.
okay.
So when after joining a gang, that was when my pontang, my truancy started.
Okay.
Yeah, very heavily into it.
And I want to ask you this as well. Does this you spoke about it just now a little bit, right? So it gives you a strength of a sense of strength, like you could do anything. You could just walk around and just disturb somebody on the streets, right? That kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Because you know that if the other party were to retaliate and something ensured, no, I tell you, pang teheng lo. Alright, give me a place, I give you time, let's do it, kind of thing.
And usually it's between members and members, or is just one-on-one, or how does this work?
I've
Done it all.
I've done it all.
Right.
Yeah, I've done it all. I am not proud of it, okay, but I've done it all.
Do you ever? I mean, I'm sure you. But at that time, when you were doing this, because at the start you said that you knew it was wrong. At that time, while doing it, right, or after doing it, maybe you I don't know what you could have done, right? Do you regret, or did you regret at that time after?
Okay. We humans have this thing called a conscience.
Okay.
Right. And I'm not a Christian, okay? But I'm not preaching, yeah? I'm not preaching.
Yeah.
In the Bible, it says, do not quench the spirit. So I believe that our consciousness is actually God's voice telling us. So everyone has a conscience. So when we start doing something, even when our parents don't teach us, you know it's wrong.
Okay.
Okay, your conscience, hey, it's wrong, don't do it. But you know, the thing about conscience is this, no? If you keep on suppressing it, each time it says no, each time you just ignore it, one fine day it will not tell you anymore.
Ah.
All right? And then what's wrong to you will become right. Because you're enjoying it so much that, you know what? You just don't give a damn anymore.
Okay. That probably explains it, why after a while you just go ahead with it, right?
Yep.
Just go ahead with it. I watched your episode with Anson, right? And all the times you were incarcerated. Okay, we go to that later, right? But we just talk about the gang part, right? You said this, right? Not once a bro visited you in prison.
Yeah.
That's true. No one from your gang member or from your gang, sorry, visited you in prison, ever.
No. So when we joined a gang, initiation and everything, when you're on the outside, everything is fine and dandy. I tell you, in Chinese, in Hokkien, we have a saying, 公會免本錢嘅. You don't understand, right?
No, I don't. What does that mean?
Words don't cost a thing.
Okay.
I can say anything I like. All right. I
Okay.
can say, Shashi, I like you very much. Let me buy you a Ferrari. I've three. I've done some money. So words don't cost a single cent.
Right.
Okay. Whatever is said on the outside is on the outside. Hey bro, jangan takut lah apa-apa. Aku gantung, aku ganti lah, whatever lah. You know what I mean? Blood lu, aku punya blood and all that. All these things will be said on the outside. But when shit really hits the fan, okay, that just like it's happened for me countless of times. Who was the one behind me every single time? Dude, my mother. No one else. No one else. Everyone shied away. Everyone hid. Okay, that is the truth. All right, and I'm not afraid of saying it.
So this is my question next, right? So when all those times that you were incarcerated 5 times, right? So when you got out, maybe after the first time, right? You got out because nobody visited you, right? Did you fall into that
my
trap?
mom visited me.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, sorry, gang. Yeah.
So when you got out from prison, right? Did you join the gang or how does this work then? Like
Okay, so back then in prison, gangs ruled the day.
Okay.
It's very gang orientated on the inside. So when you go in on the first day only, someone will come to you, say away.
Which means
which gang you belong to.
Okay.
Then you tell that person your gang, then he'll get informed your gang member.
Okay.
And then there are certain rules and regulations that you have to adhere to in prison. Like, okay, this is our place. So we hang our canteen bags, hang our t-shirts down there. You do not cross the line to go into other person's territory, so to speak.
Right.
When we go for our meals, this is where we sit.
Okay.
All right? If you sit down there in other people's territory, so to speak, they can't tell you once, they can't tell you twice. Third time, they might not tell you anymore.
So basically, it's a gang in there, huh?
Yeah.
So
In the
you
old Changi prison.
so you were not out. Basically, even if you're in prison, you're still in a gang.
I was still in a gang. I was still in a gang. Right?
Okay.
But of course, I tell you one thing. Every time in prison, I guess everyone is the same. Every inmate. I cannot say every, to most inmates. When we go in, the initial part of our prison sentence, everyone wants to change.
Okay.
Tell themselves, wow, this is not for me. This is going to be my last time.
Okay.
When I go out, I want to go straight and narrow. I want to turn my life around. Okay. But it is not the initial thought that really counts. It's how you carry that thought through.
Okay.
Prison sentence, along the way, things might happen to affect, to change your mind. Okay, so for me, I saw quite a few people who at the beginning wanted to change their life.
Right.
And then along the way, sekali they receive a letter from home,
Okay.
more often than not from their wives.
Okay.
Alright?
Okay.
Letter of divorce.
Yes.
You know what, dude? I am not kidding when I tell you this. I see the light just go out, in their eyes, just go out.
The hope is gone.
So you're telling me people like this won't come back again?
Mm.
I guarantee you they will come back again.
Okay, we will talk about the prison life later, but just this thought, right? So what about people who have got no gang affiliations, right? They get into prison for whatever reasons, right? How different is it for them? Is it like worse off for them, like because they're not related to anything, and then they come in? Do they get bullied or things like that? I don't know.
Some do get bullied, some don't. So it depends on their character. Okay, I tell you, in the old Changi prison, a mess room.
This is interesting.
Okay, so in the mess hall, when you go in the door, there's one small table down here, and then 2 long tables. Okay, so this is where we sit and eat.
Okay.
And this is where most of the time masters are conducted. So the ASP every day, 3 times a day, we have master check.
Okay.
All right. So in prison, they're not afraid of you dying. They're afraid of you escaping.
Okay.
numbers are very important. Numbers are correct. So if you belong to a gang, they'll tell you where to sit, ma.
Right.
But if you don't belong to a gang, you sit down there.
Okay.
That's called, to me, it's called no man's land.
Okay.
And that dirty is damn dirty. No one takes dirty, very dirty.
Is it?
No one takes care of it. No one really wipes it and all that. Yeah. So it's the same in the yard. So in the yard, this square place, right? So we have hangers around the yard.
Okay.
Certain gangs, you sit certain place, you hang your canteen bag, you hang your stuff down there. You don't suka come down for yard time and then you're supposed to hang, you just go and hang that side.
Okay.
So if you don't belong to a gang, dude,
There's nowhere to hang.
all the best to you. Go and find one place. Unless sometimes gangs do adopt people, meaning you don't belong to a gang, but you're cool. You're cool. So okay, like name and tell stuff. That means your stuff you can.
But then are you then recruited then? No.
Some are recruited. Some are recruited.
Okay. Wow, it's an eye opener, man. Let's talk about drugs.
Okay.
Right. I think this is very important, and for those of you who are listening in and watching it, very very important. Your first time and that feeling. What was it? Because you said it, right? The first time was the consequence. You face the consequences for the next 30 years.
Okay, so I must take a sip of water.
Please
It's
do.
going to be a long time.
Me too.
Okay, so I grew up in a family where I had uncles who were addicts also, drug addicts. All right. And in the 70s, drug programs by the government wasn't that strong yet. It was only in 1977 where government started, I think, really catching people, addicts and traffickers and all that. So when the drug deterrent programs came out, it wasn't that good yet. So you have like very corny videos on television where you see this guy shooting heroin up his arm, and then the swaying and all that, blah, blah, all say jialat ones.
Okay.
And the next thing I remember was my mom saying, "Hey boy, don't take drugs. Drugs is bad for you."
Yeah.
And then as a child, when your mother tells you not to do something, what do?
Do it lah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess that was what happened. So instead of deterring me, it actually piqued my curiosity.
All right.
So that's when I said, no, curiosity killed the cat. I forgot about the cat.
Mm.
So at the age of 13, when I joined a gang, about 3 months into joining a gang, I was offered my first stick of weed.
Okay.
So back then, my gang was one of the biggest distributors in Singapore. Yeah. So
In Singapore,
Yeah, in
distributor.
Singapore. Yeah. So murders did occur before due to
Right.
fight of territory. They want to sell here, I'm selling here.
Okay.
You can't get fights were fought and people died because of it. Yeah. And because my gang was one of the biggest, I could get my hands on weed 24/7. Best part of free of charge.
Yeah.
I thought it was best for me.
Okay.
So back to my weed. I tried it.
Okay.
He asked me if I'll try. I said yeah. I tried it, and dude, I fell in love with the high because it made me feel something that I've never felt before.
Okay.
You
Which
know,
is what?
Which
What
is okay. So weed, it affects different people. Gets affected differently by drugs. So back then, I still remember now. I was like spinning. I was a sense of like, I don't know. This song came to my mind. No woman, no cry. Kind of chill kind of feeling.
Okay.
And I remember when I was sitting on there was a ledge. I was like chilling down there. There was a pole beside me. I was leaning on towards the pole until I slipped and I fell. Okay, and I loved it.
How quickly does it take effect? Like when you start.
It was wow. I believe was was quite fast. 1-2 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, reef. We took reef lah. Back then, rokok down.
Yeah.
There's this banana leaf thingy or don't know what leaf where they mix tobacco and weed inside. They'll roll it up and then tarik. I still remember me coughing.
Right.
And then like do a minute, pom.
So you loved it. You loved the high lah, basically.
So you see, a lot of people, they are very confused
Mm.
or they are misled.
Okay.
They will say, but when you take drugs, you will not get hooked on the very first try. Yeah, I know. Okay? Just like heroin, weed, meth. Physically, it depends on your duration and the quantity that you take.
Okay.
The more you take, of course, the faster you'll be addicted to it. And being physically addicted is not your biggest worry. Because weaning off drugs physically, all you need is time. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, I give you lah. You'll be off drugs already. Physically, you won't have that craving for it.
Okay.
But it is not the physical addiction that I'm worried about for the youngsters out there or for anyone, so to speak. It is the mental addiction. Because all it takes is that very one time you try and then, bam, you fall in love with that high. And you know what? Game over. It's like opening up Pandora's box. There are many people out there who say, hey, please lah, weed is not a gateway drug. Huh? Show me the stats that say weed is not. You know, those people are bullshit. I'm telling you as it is. Just because you like to get high, just because you want to see it get approved so that you can get your hands on weed easier and faster. Dude, don't start making false statements like this that say weed is not a gateway drug. Because it happened to me and it happened to a lot of people that I know.
Exactly.
When you make statements like this and youngsters starts reading it and starts believing in the falsehood that you put out on the internet, you are screwing up people's lives, you know. Right? They say, but medically it helps. Yeah, certain portions, certain chemicals in weed, it helps medically, not the whole package. But and you know what? In Singapore, if medically you need that chemical that's in weed to help, doctors can prescribe what?
Yes.
So
Yes.
we do have it. It's not that we don't. We just don't have the whole package.
Right. Right.
So guys out there, oi, don't anyhow spread falsehood lah. Wake up lah. You want to get high, but think about the lives of the students, the many children that are out there. You're going to screw up their lives, you know. Walao, these people, I tell a chike them, I tell you.
Was consumption always the intent,
What do you mean by that?
as opposed to trafficking? What?
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Because when I was growing up, I told you, my mom always say, hey, boy, don't take drugs. Drugs is bad for you.
Okay.
And I still remember once we were taking a bus, we were passing by Mountbatten Road. If I'm not wrong, bus number 8. We're coming back from my grandfather's shop in Chinatown. And then there was this guy cycling. He was wearing singlet and he had a tattoo on his right arm.
Right.
My mom pointed to that dude and said, you see that guy with tattoo? Don't get tattooed. You know, you will destroy your whole life. I remember that statement very vividly, you know.
Okay.
I still remember I was sitting by the window,
Yeah.
she was sitting next to me, and she said that.
And the person was a stranger, lah, right?
I don't know who that guy, he was just
Total
cycling on the
stranger,
street.
right? Yeah.
But then again, like I said, mother says something, we do the exact opposite. See what happened? My whole body of tattoos. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Just going back to my question, consumption and trafficking.
So, very strangely, you see, I know that taking drugs is wrong.
Okay.
Whether consciously,
Okay.
like I said, I chose to block that out.
Right.
But subconsciously, I know that taking drugs is wrong.
Okay.
So, believe it or not, I never encourage other people taking drugs.
Okay.
So this is one thing of me that's damn strange. Damn strange, okay? I do have times where people come up to me many years ago, hey, Bruce, say I want to find this, I want to find that. And these people never tried before. No?
Okay.
Always tell them, no, I'm not going to get for you. I'm not going to get for you. Okay. I still remember this one incident back in the 80s. All right. I mean, it's public news, so I don't mind saying it. One dude called me up.
Okay.
Hey, bro, I need to get tablets. Okay. For this guy. He was actually Swiki Chicken Rice's son. He stayed at Wilkinson Road. You know, Swiki Chicken Rice is a very... So I actually said, no, I cannot get, you know, I'm not going to get.
But you can, lah.
I can,
Okay,
of course I
okay.
can, lah,
Right,
dude.
Right.
Gang member, no? And you know what happened? Okay, thank God I did not give him. Because the son of Swiki, I don't know where he went to find the tablets. He took it. That day, his Porsche crashed at Penang Lane. He was going high speed.
Right.
He and the girl sitting beside, both of them died. If I had supplied them with the pills that day and that happened, dude, I don't think I can live with myself with the thought for the, you know, I don't think I can.
Right.
Just to imagine you cause someone's death. So trafficking was never in my mind. I don't know why.
Let's get this straight, right? For people who are listening and kids as well. What's the difference now? The trafficking is they intend to sell to
Wrong.
what is the what is the
The law has been amended.
okay?
All right, dude. I guess people's perception of trafficking is intent to sell. Money has been passed. Money has been,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Okay.
No.
Right.
In Singapore law, okay, let's say I'm smoking drugs, huh? You come to me, hey bro, oh sorry, I'm smoking a stick of weed.
Right.
I say, hey, Shasi, you want to try?
Okay.
You take that stick
Right.
of weed from my hand, you puff, we cannot call, police come. I will be charged trafficking because I passed that stick of weed to you, dude.
Ooh, okay.
Okay? And depending on the classification of drugs, A or B, B, minimum 3 years, 3 strokes. A, minimum 5 years, 5 strokes. Minimum, minimum. So I remember this guy, one day, this guy, let's call him X, Mr. X.
Okay.
One dude called him up. Okay. Hey, see, why your ecstasy? Can you find someone for me, a supplier? He said, sure. So he made a few calls. He found a guy. He called that guy up. Yeah, I got his number.
Okay.
Nah, I forward the number to you. Contact him. So the guy deal lah. And then one fine day they got caught.
Okay.
CMB asked, wait, where you got this contact from? Who gave you this contact?
Right.
He said, Mr. X gave me.
Okay.
Just that one deed only. Probably he thought he was doing a favor for a friend.
Right.
He got
Trafficking.
Trafficking 6 years. 6 years, I think 5 strokes or just by passing one telephone number, no, dude. And you know what's the sad part? He didn't learn his lesson. He came out, he did one more time, he went in again.
Wow. And it's in. What about the sentencing where you get hanged? That's 15 grams or something. What was that? Is that
15 grams is heroin.
ah
So Singapore, we adopt a zero tolerance drug policy.
okay
15 grams of morphine. Okay, when you get heroin, you get caught with, let's say, 1 batu. Okay, half a kilo, 1 kilo. Doesn't mean you'll die.
okay
Because that brick of heroin is cut. Meaning a lot of things are mixed. Because it's the yield. It's the yield that
Okay.
the heavier it is, the more you can sell.
Okay.
But the purity isn't there.
Right.
I know of this dude who got caught 3 times for capital punishment. 3 times he escaped. First time he got caught with 1 batu, he went to High Court, he came back, he was laughing all the way. He was shouting, Chitiam Poyo, 7.81 grams. 1 brick, okay? Another dude that I know got caught with 1 brick, hang. That brick after washing 32 grams of pure morphine or dimorphine. He got
It's a fine line, isn't it?
It's like, dude, you don't know
yeah,
what
you
you're
don't know,
getting.
right? No, because you don't know what is the pure whatever.
Yeah. So, a lot of people will say, or some people in prison or on the outside, hey, pity these guys lah, they don't know what they're doing. Even those guys, I just doing it for the money. But you know what? It's not that I'm a heartless. It is what it is. Just like a game of football. When you play football, we cannot use the hands, right? My player kicked the ball near the goalpost. I cannot reach with my legs, so I use my hand. I hit the ball. Goal! Beep! Referee shirt. Beep!
Yes.
Forward.
Yes.
I cannot say no. It's considered a goal.
Yeah.
So we go into this game knowing the rules involved, right? So when we get caught, the rules are like that.
Right.
You get caught for a certain amount, you get hanged. You get capital punishment. We can't say no. I don't know. No, it doesn't work this way. It doesn't work this way.
Right.
All right? And I absolutely don't like people who starts crying foul or ignorance.
Yes.
And I'm not saying it does not happen. When you come across causeway, I know people whose vehicles got planted with drugs also. So those people, I can understand how they feel.
Yeah.
But the law of the land is the law of the land. No?
Right.
Right.
Now let's talk about the addiction part, right? You said that you don't know that you were going through withdrawal symptoms once, right? And is it the same with addiction? Do you know that you're addicted, or do you not know? Or it's just because it's you said it was a mental thing.
Okay, so let's talk about that addiction thing first.
Right.
I went through my first withdrawal.
Yeah.
Along the way, just before army, I knew that when you go DB, you have to take urine test, right?
Right.
Correct or not?
Yeah.
I told myself, I have to stop taking drugs. But I didn't know about that withdrawal thing, I didn't know about it. So one day I was at home, I just told myself, Bruce, you better stop taking it because you're going to go into army soon, And then I started getting sick. Okay, lembe, whole body lembe, my nose started watering, I had diarrhea, very bad diarrhea. That was back in the 80s, so purity of heroin back there was still up there.
Yeah.
Okay. But like I said, I didn't know it was withdrawal. I just thought I was very sick.
Yeah.
So I thought since I'm sick, I stay at home. So I actually lepak at home for like a week or so, having diarrhea, the runs, not being able to eat. All right, having the runs, you're very thirsty. Every drop of water that I tried to consume would come out again.
Yeah.
Every piece of food that I put into my mouth would come out again. My whole body ached like nobody's business, but yet I cannot sleep. You try to sleep, but sleep just eludes you.
Okay.
You have a pounding headache. But because I did not know it was withdrawal, mentally, I told myself all I need to do is lepak at home and set this out. Because after that event, when I knew that it was withdrawal symptoms, from henceforth, whenever things like this happen to me, my brain tells me a different thing. My brain tells me, all you need to do is go and get drugs, and then all this will be over. All this pain, all this agony will be over.
The remedy to the withdrawal symptoms.
Exactly. You see? So to me, that was God's hand in it. Because if I gone to DB, then my life would be very different.
How long did the thing last, the withdrawal symptoms?
Probably, I cannot really remember, but 7 days or 10 days.
So after that, you were okay? Like you could...
Yeah, still lembe lah. Because I really thought I was very sick.
Okay.
I just thought I was very sick.
Okay.
And being sick, take Panadol lah, drink a lot of water lah, try to drink water.
Right.
And for 7 or 10 days, I just lepak at home.
So this is the question, right? You could do this because of NS. Because you didn't want... before NS, you wanted to get rid of whatever, right?
Yes.
How about after that then? Why could you, because you didn't want the feeling of the withdrawal symptoms, that's why you went into it back? What's the...
No, okay, so like I said, I didn't know it was withdrawal.
Okay.
I knew I had to stop because I didn't want to go to prison because of it.
Okay.
So the hardship that I went through, the withdrawal hardship that I went through, I didn't know it was withdrawal.
Okay.
So I just went through it. But
Okay.
if I had known it was withdrawal, Shasi, it would be a very different story altogether.
Right.
So after my army, one day as I was coming home, I saw someone taking heroin at the steps. That triggered everything all over again.
Okay.
And I tell you, if you are a hardcore drug addict, right, you might say you stopped taking drugs for 5 years, 10 years, and you say, I'm totally quit. I'm recovered. Okay. That never happens.
Never?
Never. For us, we will forever be a recovering addict. Because the day we become complacent and say that, I've recovered already, I'm good to go, that, I tell you, will be the start of our downfall. I tell you this thing, when I was in my last incarceration, there's this dude, he kept on pacing the cell up and down the whole day, mumbling to himself. We got so pissed off that I was saying, because it's very distracting,
Yeah.
You're in a 12-feet cell and this guy walking up and down. That was when he told me a story. He had actually stopped taking heroin for 20 years. Okay.
20 years?
20 years. So one day he went karaoke, he went drinking, he met some friends. They're happy to see him. They actually booked a girl for him.
Okay.
In the karaoke.
Right.
And, heroin is known to be an aphrodisiac of sort. So they asked him, Xiao, what's that uli? I have some. How you want to take or not? For tonight. And he went, okay lor. He thought nothing of it. He went to the toilet, he took a few puffs, he came back. Just took a few puffs, came back, started drinking again. About, I think 15 or 20 minutes, suddenly all the lights came on. Pop, 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 pop. Police came in, spot check. IC, thank you, that's why. They checked him, and I think they could see panic on his face. And they screened him, he had a record of a drug record. They brought him back for urine test. Tested positive, he went in for 3 years. Dude, that 3-4 puff,
And after 20 years as well?
After 20 years. So that was what I meant, or that's what I meant when I say we can never be complacent, you know. But the good news is, I mean, it's not all doom and gloom. There is good news.
Yeah.
The longer we abstain from it, the easier the journey gets. When I came out from prison, the first 2 years was a nightmare for me. Constantly, I had nightmares of me taking drugs, of me running from the police chasing me, I get arrested, I get thrown into prison. 2 years of constant nightmares, you know. And you know how dreams are, right? It's like so real to you that when I wake up, I'm like hyperventilating, panicking. And then when I say that, oh, I'm in my room, I mean, you should see the relief that washes over me when I wake up, my eyes open and I say, wow, I'm in my room. It's just a dream, it's just a dream. For 2 years, you know, I went through that.
Wow. When is the since you came out the last time, right? So you've been free for how long? Like 5 years, 6 years?
6th of March.
6th of March.
6 years, dude.
6 years. This 6 March.
Yes, this 6th of
years.
March, 6 years.
Wonderful.
The
Brilliant.
longest I've been a free man.
Yeah. And I'm going to ask you this question, right?
Ask me too.
You talk about complacency. Have you gotten complacent? Or not, I wouldn't say gotten complacent. That's not the right thing. Tempted.
Of course I've been tempted. Any hardcore drug addict who says that he has never been tempted, I tell you, is lying. Okay. So like I said, the longer, okay, when I first came out, because when you're inside, it's not that we are changed men.
Okay.
We don't take drugs, it's because under the Bopian Act, there's no drugs on the inside.
Yeah.
If I had drugs, I tell you, I would be taking it.
Okay.
But on the outside, it's a very different story. Okay, there are no more walls, you know. It was up to me. Of course, I was tempted, bro. Of course, constantly.
On your own or by looking
On
at
my
it?
own.
On your own. You don't need to.
I don't even need to look at people. So you know, sometimes the craving is so strong that how do I express this? The craving is so strong. It's like I want to go crazy. You know, I'm not joking. It's that bad. You keep saying, oh, go and take. It's like that nagging sound, you know, that nagging soft voice. Go and take. Just like dripping tap.
Yeah. Well, that's scary shit, man.
And just imagine throughout the day, you know, throughout the whole day. That's why I always get myself busy. I want to do things. I want to be busy to just drown out that dripping noise that's inside my head.
Before we take a short break, right, Bruce, speak into this camera. Tell us and just about drugs, right? The dangers of drugs and what you can, or people or youth at risk can do to just stay away from that.
Guys, drugs is not something you want to fool about with. You might think that you are in control, but I tell you, you are not. When drugs has its grips on you, believe me, you are screwed. You are screwed for the rest of your life. So the best thing, don't try, don't start.
That's Bruce Mathieu for you, and we'll be right back after a very short break, and we will talk about prison and turning over a new leaf. Yeah, Bruce, cheers.